is ISC². Now we are going to learn about governance element.
Okay, let's see what it is.
Any business or organization exists to fulfill a purpose, whether it is provide raw materials to an industry, manufacture equipment to build computer hardware, develop software applications, construct buildings, or provide goods and services. To complete the objective requires that decisions are made, rules and practices are defined, and policies are producers are in place to guide the organization in its pursuit of achieving its goals and mission.
When leaders and management implement the system and structure that the organization will use to achieve its goal, they are guided by laws and regulations created by governments to enact public policy. Laws and regulations guide the development of standards, which cultivate policies, which result in procedures.
Next, how are regulation standard policies are
Regulation.
produced? Yeah. How are regulation standards, policies, and producers related? It might help to look at the list in reverse. So procedures
Procedure
are the
procedure
tell-
are the detailed step to complete a task that support department or organization policies.
policies are put in place by organizational governance such as execute, ex, executive management to provide guidance in all HU's activities to ensure that the organization supports industry stands and regulations.
Standards are often used by governments terms to provide a framework to introduce policies and procedures in support of regulations.
Regulations are commonly issued in the form of law, so usually from government, so not be confused with governance, and typically carry financial penalties for non-compliance.
Now that we see how they are connected, we will look at some detail and example of each. Click on each tab to learn more.
Let's see what the first zero. First zero, what is regulations and laws? So regulations and laws means regulations associated fines and penalties penalties
Penalties.
penalties can be imposed by governments and the national, regional, or local level, because regulations and laws can be imposed and enforced definitely in different parts of the world. Here are few examples to connect the concept of actual regulation.
The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act HIPAA of 1996 so stands for electronic healthcare transactions while protecting the policy of individuals health information. Other provisions address funds reductions protections for individuals with health insurance and a wide range of other healthcare related activities. In an example of a law that governs the use of protected health information, PHI, protect, protected health information in the United States, violation of the HIPAA rule carry the possibility of fines and or imprisonment for both individuals and companies.
So then GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. What it is? In 2016, the European Union passed comprehensive in 2016, the European Union passed comprehensive lit- legislation that addresses personal privacy, demanding it an individual human right. So GDPR was inherited and enacted by the European Union to control use of personally identified information. So that is called PII of its citizens and those in the European Union. So it includes preventions that apply financial penalties to companies who held data of EU citizens and those living in the European Union, even if the company does not have a physical presence in the EU, given the regulations and international reach.
Finally, it's common to be subject to regulation on several levels. Multinational organizations are subject to regulation in more than one nation in addition to multiply reason and manu- municipality
Manipulations, manipulates,
municipalities
manipulates.
manipulates. Organization needs to consider the regulations that apply to their business at all levels, national, regional and local, and ensure they are compliant with the most restrictive regulation.
Let's see what next. So that is stands. What is standards? Organization uses multiple standards as part of their information system security program, both as comprehensive documents and as awarenesses and guidelines. Standards cover a broad range of issues and ideas and may provide assurance that the organization is operating with policies and procedures that support regulations and are widely accepted by best practices. Best practice, yeah.
The International Organization for Standardization in International Electrotechnical Commission and the International Telecommunication Union, particularly in the field of information and communication technology, develops and publish international stands on variety of technical subjects include information system and information security, as well as encryption stands. ISO, International Organization for Standardization, solicits input from the international community of experts to provide input on its standards prior to publishing. Documents outlining ISO standards may be purchased online.
So then next they told the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, what it is. The NIST is part of US Department of Commerce and addresses the measurement infrastructure within science and technology efforts within the US federal government. NIST sets standards in a number of areas including information security with the Computer Security Resources Center of the Computer Security Divisions. In United States, government agency under the Department of Commerce and publishes a variety of technical standards in addition of information technology and information security stands. Many of the standards issued by NIST are requirements for US government agencies and are considered recommended standard by industrial worldwide. NIST standards solicit, solicit, solicit and integrated input from industrial and are free to download from the NIST website.
Finally,
Finally,
Finally, think about how computers talk to other computers across the globe. People speak different language and do not always understand each other. How are computers able to communicate? Through standards, of course.
thanks to the Internet Engineering Task Force (IETF), the Internet Standard Organization made up of a network designer, operations vendors, and researchers that defines protocol standards. Example: IP, TCP, DNS. Through a process of collaboration and consensus, there are standards in communication protocol that ensure all computers can connect with each other across border even when the operators do not speak the same language.
The Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers also set standards for telecommunication, computer engineering, and similar disciplines.
Let's see what next they have heard. Policies. Policies is informed by applicable laws and specifies which standards and guidelines the organization will follow. Policy is broad but not detailed. So it establishes context and set out strategic direction and protects. Governance policies are used to moderate and control decisions making to ensure compliance which when necessary and to guide the creation and implementation of other policies.
Policies are often written at many levels across the organization. High level governance policies are used by senior executives to shape and control decision making process. Other high level policies direct the behavior and activities of the entry organization as it moves towards specific or general goals and objectives. Functional areas such as human resource management, finance and accounting, and security and asset protection usually have their own assets of policies, whether imposed by laws and regulation or by contacts. The need for compliance may also require the development of specific high level policies that are documented and assessed for their effective use by the organization.
Policies are policies are implemented or carried out by people. Further, some must expand the policies from statements of in, in, intent and directions into step-by-step instructions or procedures.
The next is procedures. Procedures defines the explicit, explicit repeatable activities necessary to accomplish a specific task or set of tasks. They provide supporting data, decision criteria, decision criteria, or other ex, ex, explicit
Explicit.
knowledge needed to perform each task. Procedures can address one time or in infrequent actions or common regulation occurrences. In addition, procedure establish the measurement criteria and method to use to determine whether a task has been successfully completed. properly documenting procedures and training personnel on how to locate and follow them is necessary for driving the maximum organization benefits from procedures. These all
So,
about governance elements. It's divided into four parts. First one is regulations and rules, standards, policies, and procedures.